Okay, in this video we will talk about compound propositions, like how to create a new proposition from an existing proposition. Okay, now generally compound propositions are created from an existing proposition using some logical operator. Now in this video specifically we will talk about negation of an proposition, and in next few videos we'll talk about some other ways to create new proposition from an existing proposition as well. Okay, so if I just write it down, so compound proposition we can create, if I write something this way, so compound compound propositions are created from existing proposition, okay, by applying some logical operator. Okay, logical operator. Now this concepts and methods are initially developed by a mathematician called George Bully. If you know about Boolean algebra, basically it was named after him only. Okay, so now let us talk about the negation of an proposition. Okay, so let me change the color over here. Negation of a proposition. Okay, so in negation of proposition, basically the logical operator we use is the negative operator. That means, suppose let's say P is a proposition. Okay, so if P is a proposition, if you remember from my previous video, I talked about the basic stuff about propositions, right? So they can be either true or false, but they cannot be together both, right? And they are generally declarative sentences, right? So if P is a proposition, the negation of P, okay, it's generally denoted by so negation of P, let me bring that operator, negation of P or P prime. Okay, P prime. Okay, or it could be P bar as well. Okay, there are a lot of ways to express this one, bar P, right? So P bar as well. So, and generally it means like, so control C. So generally it means like, if I say P is in proposition, so negative P or negation of P means, or I'll just say negation of, I'll just mention it with P prime. I like to mention with that one only. Okay, so P prime is, it's not the case that P. Okay, so this is how we express in normal English over there. Okay, in our human language over there. Okay, so let us take an example over here. Let's say P is, Delhi is capital of India. Okay, so what will be the value of P prime over here? So P prime will be, Delhi is not capital of India. Okay, so if you see, P is a very simplistic proposition over here, right? So we will just mention a not over here. There could be a lot of composite propositions we will see in future videos as well. Okay, using and operator and or operator. In that case, negation of those stuff is somehow different. So I'll not give those examples now. When we'll be discussing those stuff, right? Those and operator and on operator, how to construct propositions using them, then we will see how to take negation of those stuff as well. Okay, now let's say I have another, let's take another example of P, or let's say you can give any name over here, Q as well, right? So what is the Q value? Let's say Tom has at least 8 GB of RAM in his mobile. Okay, so let's say our proposition Q is this one. Okay, so what will be the negative proposition of this one? Now if you see it over here, let me write the Q bar. So our Q bar will be, if you see it over here, there is a term called at least over here, right? That means he has at least 8 GB or more RAM in his mobile, right? That means at least 8 GB RAM is there in his mobile. It can be more as well. So the negation of this one could be, if I just state in this way only, so it is not the case. So if I just write like this one, right, it is not the case that Tom has 8 GB RAM in his, at least 8 GB RAM in his mobile. That means we can write in another way, Tom has less than 8 GB of RAM in his mobile. Okay, if you see, like from a pure mathematical statement, or if I say pure logical statement, how in our normal way of talking, right, in our language, in human language, how we are transferring it. Okay, so this is important, because when we'll talk about theorem proofing and all, so this type of conversion will be conversion we have to do it. Even like this logics have a lot of application in system design and natural language processing, those stuff, right? So over there, so basically it becomes more important over there, how you are transferring a human language or human written sentence to a logical statement over here. Okay, so as we take more example, we'll be more familiar with this one only. Okay, let's take a couple of more example over here. If I just say P equals to Tom has an MP3 player. Okay, so it is very easy to make it negation over here. Okay, so what will be the P prime over here? So P prime will be, Tom does not have any more MP3 player, right? So Tom does not have any MP3 player. Okay, so let us take another example over here. Okay, so let's say our P equals to let me go down a bit so that it will be easier to read. Okay, P equals to 2 plus 1 equals to 3. Okay, so this is my proposition. It's a mathematical statement over here, right? So what will be our P prime over here? So 2 plus 1 not equals to 3, right? I'll just write 2 plus 1 not equals to 3, not equals to 3 over here, right? Now if you see, like as we have mentioned over there, right, so proposition, the value could be true or false, right? It cannot be both together. Even though we know 2 plus 1 is always 3, the negative proposition is always false over here, right? So that means basically, if I just write the truth table of a proposition and its negative proposition, let me write that one over here. Okay, so if we just write a truth table, let me bring a table over here. So if I write P over here, okay, let me write in this way, P over here, and if I write P prime over here, so if the value of P is true, in that case the value of P prime will be always false over here. This is the case over here, right? And if the value of P is false, the value of negation of P will be always be true over here. So this will be the truth table of a negation of a proposition over here. Okay, so if you see, this is a very simplistic way of constructing a compound proposition from a proposition. We just apply the negation operator and then we just form this from this negation of P over here, right? In next video we'll talk about some more stuff, some more operators we can use to construct some more propositions over there. Okay, hopefully this video is helpful. See you in next video.